looking at me.
Yo, what's going on, folks? How you been? It's your boy, the Multitasker. I'm doing all right so far. Just trying to stay warm as possible because the hours grow darker and it gets colder by the minute. And it's the same kind of cold that I felt that was earlier this morning. It sucks. And correct me if I'm not mistaken, it's still fall, right? It's not even winter yet, but it goes to show that how crazy the weather change that just goes dramatically unexpected like that. And even though that I was wearing a heavy pants, heavy coat, and yet the chills is still just slithering through the inside. And all I'm trying to do is to stay momentum, being unfazed, and just do not give in the cold, and just wanted to lie down as much as I can. It's just that it's just too damn cold. But aside from that, work was okay. It was a very fast pace and was a really fast shift, and just moving from one point to another with no break. That's unbelievable. But yeah, that's how my day went. But even though it's over, but I'm still not out of the woods yet. But anyways, let's move on, because I got a new request for tonight, and this belongs to Shadow. And this was mentioned when I was playing Guardians of the Galaxy on stream last night. And looks like I'm going to be checking out of a clip. The title is called Lives Destroyed by Marvel. Really? I guess I am curious to know exactly what that means. So, and just to let you know that this video is from Grunge. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, and without further ado, it's time to react.
While Marvel has grown beyond belief and made many artists, writers, and their creations household names around the world, it's not all sunshine and X-Men. A number of people have run afoul of the company over the years, intentionally or otherwise, and have suffered some pretty devastating fates as a result. Jessica Alba. The Fantastic Four is an exceptionally weird Marvel property. Started in 1961, it was the first big superhero team book under the Marvel label. 4 different Fantastic Four films have been produced, and every one of them was terrible. In 2 of those films, Jessica Alba played the role of Sue Storm. Alba later said Rise of the Silver Surfer made her want to stop acting, explaining how awful it was working with the movie's director, who asked her to do things like look prettier when she cried. It all drove her to the point where she had no interest in being in the business anymore.
It was really uncomfortable for me.
I never knew about that.
Of course, Alba has plenty of money, and she didn't fully leave showbiz. She's also been in more than her fair share of poorly received movies. But the fact that she singled out Fantastic Four as the movie that seemed to break her spirit is certainly no badge of honor for Marvel. Gary Friedrich. In Marvel's quest to create new and interesting stuff, writer Gary Friedrich came up with an idea for a new character in 1972, a motorcycle-riding daredevil who becomes the flamey-skulled hero Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider has endured since the 1970s and even got 2 turns on the big screen with Nicolas Cage in the lead role. The first movie actually made around $230 million worldwide. That's a lot of green, and Friedrich wanted a piece. In 2007, Friedrich filed a lawsuit claiming Ghost Rider's rights reverted to him in 2001, and therefore Marvel owed him big time. A judge disagreed, saying Friedrich handed over the rights when he endorsed certain checks that said the rights belonged to Marvel. Oops.
Looks like trouble just found you.
Instead of getting money, Friedrich was countersued by Marvel for what they said was his unauthorized use of their character. He had to pay the company $17,000 and agree to stop selling Ghost Rider merch at conventions, and even stop promoting himself as Ghost Rider's creator for financial gain. A settlement was finally reached in 2013, 5 years before Friedrich passed away.
Oh my God.
Matt Salinger. In 1990, Marvel fans got Captain America starring Matt Salinger, a film that is still infamous today for its unadulterated awfulness. Salinger, son of author J.D. Salinger, has gone on record about how preposterous the whole experience of making the film was. Shoots were canceled and rescheduled, and eventually they ran out of money.
It seems the Americans have made a poor choice for their champion.
I don't think I've never
Salinger told GQ that though he's not bitter, his experience with Captain America was a good example of how, as an actor, you're powerless to make a good movie, leading him to move toward producing. While the Red Skull was unable to defeat Captain America on the screen, bad filmmaking did the job behind the scenes. Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, I remember
Everyone
this
knows
one.
Dolph Lundgren's name. He had probably his most iconic role ever in Rocky IV as Ivan Drago, and then a memorable follow-up as He-Man. In 1989,
That one too.
Lundgren made The Punisher, and it's worth noting that, aside from a handful of forgotten flicks, the next time most people saw Lundgren in theaters was in 2010's The Expendables. That's a big gap.
It's a good
This movie
series.
didn't ruin
Movie
Lundgren's
series, I'm
career outright. He kept doing direct-to-video movies pretty steadily for decades, but it arguably stopped his time as a big-screen movie star. The Punisher was a big disappointment, drawing only weak reviews, and the production was a mess. Den of Geek blamed a small budget, script rewrites, and all kinds of corners being cut that meant the movie was pretty much destined to fail and take Lundgren with it.
Wow. Wow.
Leah Thompson.
Leah Thompson?
Even as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is in the midst of its box office domination, one distinguished actress has been long overlooked. Leah Thompson has claimed to be the first queen of Marvel, and it's a defensible position. Howard the Duck was the first big-screen Marvel movie back in 1986, and Leah Thompson was the human lead. Unfortunately, the movie tanked hard. Considered one of the worst movies ever made, Howard the Duck did no favors for Thompson. She revealed to CBR in an interview that she'd been bullied for years over her role in the film. Even though she later scored a role in the John Hughes movie Some Kind of Wonderful, her career trajectory couldn't recover. There were simply no more lead roles after Howard the Duck besides a stint on a mid-90s sitcom. Truly, those early attempts at Marvel movies were not all they were quacked up to be.
No pun
Jack
intended.
Kirby. Marvel Comics is Jack Kirby. That cannot be denied. These days, a lot of people recognize Stan Lee as the face of the comics giant, but some of that can be chalked up to Lee's incredible skill at self-promotion. Kirby was the artistic tour de force who helped Lee invent Marvel's massive stable of characters and bring them to life on the page. At the very least, he deserves a full 50% of the credit for what Lee is famous for, and arguably did much more. As protege Mark Evanier put it,
Jack Kirby doesn't have a place in comic book history. He kind of is comic book history.
Together with a few others, they created what are now the icons of comic books: Hulk, Captain America, Thor, and literally hundreds more. But Kirby was a work-for-hire employee. He worked out of his own house, bought his own supplies, and was paid per page as they were accepted, according to The Hollywood Reporter. He got no benefits, no time off, and he certainly wasn't part of the multi-billion-dollar enterprise it is
really
today. Jack Kirby died in 1994. It wasn't until 2014 that Marvel, heading off a case that was on its way to the Supreme Court, finally settled with Kirby's heirs.
Apparently, there are things that I never knew that some of the movies that are considered one of the worst / bad that almost killed each actors and actresses losing their career and just get dumped. Like, I mean, I never realized that Jessica Alba's career was almost ended after The Rise of Silver Surfer. I mean, wow. I mean, she was very emotional when that director told her to do this and that. I mean, that's got to be devastating that scarred her. Or how about Leah Thompson? I mean, wow. I mean, I never knew that she was being bullied because of that one movie that she was in, and that's really got her got down and very deeply about that. And if I'm not mistaken, that the movie was mentioned on I think there was a website, used to be, I believe it's called badmovies.org, that was mention of that. So yeah, and I'm not that surprised that the very first Punisher movie that really sucked, and I'm not trying to try to be rude or try to be vulgar, but it is fair to say that it's just that the score was weak, the script's been changed, and the only thing that I have a big complaint about that is that no skull shirt whatsoever, just basically a bland black shirt. And I do remember seeing that in a lot of really bad movies that I remember all the way from the 80s to the 90s, and we blame the fact that we get a lot of trailers that gets you all pumped up, and then you realize that you see for the film for the first time, and you realize that you thought it was good, but and that's a real shame. How that it just almost that nearly got destroyed, and yet there's still a little bit hope that it basically reinvent themselves, and that they stick it to some better films that will instantly just save their lives and their reputation. I mean, that is just insane. I mean, that just goes to show that just how that's what show business is like, because there's sometimes that they want to tell you something, and yet you just don't. If you don't feel like this is gonna work, and yet that you just can't get out of it, it's gonna own you, and that's what sucks about that. So I mean, here we are now. Fast forward that we got some better films that are way successful than they were in the past, and God, don't get me started about Captain America. I really don't want to talk about it. Well, except for was that clip that was where he's about to hijack a car. I mean, that's yeah, that's some good memory of why the movies suck. But I'm just glad that we overcome for this, and that the movie's gotta be served to us, the fans, that we want to see something that's gonna be good and better. And I already know the fact that there is gonna be a new Fantastic Four movie that's gonna be coming out very soon, and I'm praying, and I do mean I'm praying, that this movie will be better than all the 4 films, which is, I'm surprised that nobody even mentioned about the very first Fantastic movie that really sucks and just hilariously bad it was. I think that there was a highlight moments from Djibouti Dubs, if I'm not mistaken. Good God, that was a real disappointment there. I mean, Jesus Christ. Oh, Lord. What a trip of a memory lane that I had to relive with that. Good God. Well, Shadow, thank you so much of this interesting clip right there, and that brings me memories, and one of the reasons that why I haven't seen most of these, but fractions of memories when I was a kid. Yeah, we thought it was good, but they weren't, and that's a damn shame. That's a real shame for the actors, including Jack Kirby. I mean, that's really messed up that they didn't give the kind of the credibility that he deserves. So no sense of me to stretch this even further, but at least that the settlement that went through. So thank goodness for that. Well, I think I said too much. So if you guys do enjoy this, and what do you think about from the movies that killed the well-known actors and actresses' career almost? So I would like to hear your thoughts about this. So take care and be blessed.